I'm Darryl Brown. Welcome to Shades of Us, a show that explores multicultural identities and how they intersect. We're here at Greenwood Cemetery in Sunset Park, Brooklyn. Founded in 1838, this nearly 500-acre space was one of the first rural cemeteries in America. This National Historic Landmark, consisting of hills, valleys, and paths, offers a peaceful oasis for its 500,000+ permanent residents and the loved ones who visit to remember them. In this episode, we'll explore cultural aspects of remembering the dead and see how some people are using tradition and symbolism to reflect on those who have passed away. Stay tuned for these stories right after this. According to a CDC report on morbidity and mortality, more than 3 million people died in the United States in 2023. The leading causes of death were heart disease, cancer, and preventable injury. Did you know that there's a museum and library collection in Brooklyn that houses an array of morbid curiosities? Here's more.
In Brooklyn's sprawling Industry City complex, there lies a liminal space dedicated to all things weird and wonderful.
We are a morbid curiosity museum and library collection. They're curiosities, and the curiosities can range from medical to metaphysical, from the known to the unknowable, and the spaces in between.
This is the Morbid Anatomy Library and Gift Shop. Founded and curated by artist Joanna Ebenstein, the library showcases her vast personal collection of medical and occult texts, taxidermies, oddities, sacred items, and morbid curiosities. Charlotte Plum, a lifelong enthusiast for all things morbid, is the library's caretaker.
You know, it started with Joanna collecting because she was passionate about all these weird little things that people do and make. I don't think Joanna will ever stop collecting interesting things. The way that we acquire our collection is a variety of means. Some of it is direct acquisition, like going into a thrift shop and seeing something that looks so perfectly weird and curious and morbid, it just fits right in. Or people donating things to us because they're looking for a good home for their interesting, morbid, and curious things.
The Morbid Anatomy Library may seem intimidating to some visitors, but Plum makes sure that anyone who walks through the library threshold feels as welcomed as possible.
People come in, sometimes they're nervous, they're like, they don't know what to do. There's all these little signs that say don't touch anything, so I guide them, say you can touch this, you can take books off the shelf, you can take pictures. I try to get people to engage with the space. It's not like you're walking into a museum and you can't touch anything. So I try to help people, try to talk to them, find out what their interests are, maybe guide them to the sections of the library where they would be most engaged. I love this photograph. I don't know who these people are. Joanna says she doesn't know who these people are, but she found it in a thrift shop. The figure of the baby in the middle was superimposed. We suspect strongly that the baby had passed. So this is an example of a type of family mourning photography. So this was pretty common, that people would have their loved ones who had passed kind of superimposed into a photograph like this. Just the idea that our loved ones are spirits that are very close to us.
Morbid Anatomy's collection gets more curious as it delves into works of strange taxidermy.
So here's one of our little guys. This creature wasn't born this way, but it's an incredible example of taxidermy art. The artist who made this two-headed chick, she was one of our educators, just someone within our sphere. We have a lot of incredible artists we're in touch with and who teach through us. So this is our wet specimen cabinet. And what's special about this cabinet is that it actually came from Joanna's grandfather because he was a doctor. So you'll notice that some of the specimens have color. The process is called diaphanized. There's a chemical that goes through the specimens to bleach them out, and then the color is injected into them to highlight their anatomy. Santa Muerte is the patron saint of morbid anatomy. She comes out of South America. She's literally, she's a she, death as a female saint. She's there to remind us that death comes for everyone, and that she's the kind and loving bringer and deliverer to the other realms.
Beyond these bizarre and sometimes unsettling curiosities, Plum points to the most essential aspect of morbid anatomy, the sense of community it creates between those fascinated by life's most shadowy corners.
We want people to come in and just experience, the curiosity. My other favorite type of interaction are people who thought they were alone with their morbid curiosities. The people who walk in and they look around and they say, literally, I thought I was the only one who was interested in this kind of stuff.
Dia de los Muertos, also known as Day of the Dead, is a holiday that's celebrated throughout Latin America from November 1st to November 2nd. It's a time where many Latino families come together to remember and celebrate their deceased relatives. Here at Greenwood Cemetery, there's an annual event honoring the tradition of remembering the dead. We meet Ana Maria Aguilar, who is the coordinator of Dia de los Muertos Family Day.
Something that we say in Spanish, la muerte es segura. So death is certain. And we love the fact that during the Dia de los Muertos, we're able to celebrate and honor our loved ones that have deceased and parted. And it's very important to have it here in Greenwood because it's a cemetery that's open for the community. Typically, when we think about cemeteries, we think they're scary. Well, that's not Greenwood. It's a beautiful space that people can come in, and it's a beautiful way for people to celebrate and honor their loved ones. We have a large Latin American community in Sunset Park that celebrate Dia de los Muertos. Greenwood embraces the Latino community. This is a space for them. This is a space where they can honor their loved ones, even if they're far away. I mean, we have a large immigrant community. So it's a space where they can honor them without, having to go back home, or just having a space is so important. We actually bring the whole community together. If you've seen pictures of the event, you see everyone celebrating. And it's not just a certain age, it's from babies to adults, just having a good time honoring their loved ones. We have an ofrenda for pets, which little ones come in and honor the little pets. It could be a little fishy, a doggy. So it's a way of honoring anyone that was special in your life and is no longer here. So they bring pictures, they bring what we called ofrendas. They do offerings. We've had occasions where a child brought their dog's leash and they put it on the ofrenda with a picture. They write notes. So it becomes very intimate. And while they're doing that, it's connecting them again to that loved one that's not here. For me, it's very important to have Greenwood here because my grandmother's buried here. So every time we have the celebration here, it really connects me back to my time with her. And I have my aunt buried here, and I also have a space here. So to me, it's very important because I feel that once I'm no longer here, I'm going to be buried at the place where we brought everyone together, having this great celebration. Please join us Friday, November 1st at Greenwood Cemetery for our Family Dia de los Muertos Day.
¿Cómo prepararse para el Día de Muertos? Yo les cuento, usando una calaverita videoliteraria.
Dios te salve María, llena eres de gracia, el Señor es contigo. Bendita tú eres entre todas las mujeres, y bendito es el fruto de tu vientre.
El momento llega y ya sabrán que nuestras familias nos dejan, pero sus almas se quedan en el entorno. Ya sentirán.
Gloria, descanses en paz.
Nada que temer y mejor saber para no temer que la ansia va a aparecer. A pasar la tradición, pues es esencial función.
like completely white right now.
Desde mi corazón, soy madre, es mi posición.
Just your orange juice. Enter there and spit it out of you.
Natalia, mijita, la muerte da risita, todo se recicla y a revivir invita. Para eso, el Día de Muertos, para hablar y reírnos con ellos, dejando esto como sellos en la memoria, son bellos. Ya con esta me despido, es la última copla y respiro. Señora Muerte, ya me retiro.
We'll be back after this break. The most iconic symbol of Dia de los Muertos is La Catrina, the skull-like face with her elegant attire. La Catrina makeup art can be inspiring and creative, and one makeup artist, Stephanie Vasquez, is about to demonstrate how we can transform ourselves into this symbolic presence.
La muerte es democrática, ya que, a final de cuentas, güera, morena, rica o pobre, toda la gente acaba siendo calavera.
The Catrina was created by an artist, José Guadalupe Posada, in Aguascalientes, Mexico. The Catrina was not made to be part of Dia de los Muertos. At first, it was like more a satiric scene that he built up because he wanna make a kind of joke of the high society of Mexico. That old people, even though they are in the high society, they have a lot of money or they don't have money, everybody's gonna end dying. So with the Catrina, like a high society lady with all this glamour and make it like a dead person, like a skull. So that's when the story of the Catrina begins. And then it was moved to the Dia de los Muertos. Why they name it Catrina? It's because at that time in the Mexican society, to the gentlemen that were very rich, they called them Catrines. So the feminine for Catrin, Catrina. Like there are different options to make a Catrina, and today we are gonna do the gems. So what we basically did first, I didn't want to do like a completely white face, so I took like her natural color of her skin and I mixed it up with a little bit of white to make it a little more pale. And then I start mapping all my lines. And from that, you can guide and start doing like the eyes, and then you can make the color. So at this point, with this kind of brush, we just start tapping to create like the flower for the Catrina. And then also you have to create the illusion because this is a skull. So you have to cut the contour really deep. So you have to create this illusion, and then after that you just start coloring up and blending. We are gonna do the gems. She's dead, but she's glowy. All Catrinas, they always have like flowers and graphics on their faces, so we are trying to do something here to give like a little bit of that Catrina look. We are gonna do the nose now, and The difference in the nose, you remember that this one is not a clown nose. So you cannot put it all black or all red. So we just have to leave a little tiny in the middle, like a space, so it creates that look of the Catrina. And then I'm gonna have to do this one like this, the teeth. So we are gonna create also the illusion of the teeth because we Latinas are very dramatic. The Catrina, it's very glamorous. So she's always wearing or buns or rather like a very high ponytail with curls. So we have to exaggerate everything because that's the way a Catrina should look. Oh my God, I think this kind of makeup shows a lot of cultural things from Mexico, from all our Latino countries, so I love it. And you will love it too once you do it.
According to a 2023 Pew Research Center survey on tattoos, over 30% of American adults have at least one tattoo. Of those who get inked, nearly 70% cite the reason is to honor or remember someone or something. Tattoos are more than just ink on skin. They're personal stories and symbols of remembrance that last a lifetime. We take a look inside a New York City's tattoo studio where creators and clients share their stories and showcase the artistry and craftsmanship of this ancient form of self-expression.
Today we're tattooing Eliza a few tattoos because she wanted to treat herself. My name's Jackie Maroney. I'm Jackie Chan Tattoos on Instagram, and I've been tattooing for 3 years. People throughout my life always told me to be a tattoo artist, but I was always scared because it's so difficult, you know? I was in a desperate situation after COVID and graduating college that I wanted to take a really risky job to get out of the restaurant industry. So I'm super happy I did it because it changed my life. I could finally do art for a living. It's amazing. I think tattoos are very like Halloween centric because of how black they are, right? Like I feel like that's a spooky vibe.
Friday the 13th and Halloween is a very popular in the spooky designs. Everything that you can think of that comes to mind when you think horror is very popular when it comes to Halloween. This is a tiny one that I did, black and gray skull for New York. This is for tourists. A lot of people that do New York designs as tourists. My name is Fausto Martinez. I came when I was 18 years old from Ecuador. That's where I'm originally from. And then I went to Kingsborough Community College. I graduated from there. I got my associates in graphic design. And then I did one more year in the School of Visual Arts. And then I stopped doing all that to tattoo. I applied everything pretty much that I learned in both places in this, which is really lucky. So I could have actually applied that to this. So this tattoo, this person came in and he said, I want something kind of like Americana type of style, black and gray, big, mirroring snakes. So we went over this, like, I think a little bit over a month with a couple of different designs as to get it right. Best scenario for any tattooer, it's a customer that has a clear idea of what they want. You have a lot of people, you have a lot of executives too. You have a lot of lawyers, you have a lot of fashionistas, a lot of people who does entrepreneurships, any kind of businesses, a lot of people that is into fashion, I would say, mostly.
It's a whole melting pot of people that come in, young, old, cater to all service of people. My name is Turco Lewis, and I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I've been tattooing since 2010. I was always into drawing, but didn't think I would be taking tattooing this far. I was more like a graphic student. So I met a close friend who, at the time, he had tattoos, and I guess from back then, it was just kind of weird to see that at such a young age you have tattoos. So I kind of wanted to know like where'd he go. I automatically was very intrigued by just the environment, the aesthetic that I was in. To see a dude just tattooing in his room. I do specialize in black and gray, realism. I do a lot of like pointillism aesthetic tattoos. Tattoos culture changed a lot. I noticed that not a lot of large scale pieces are being done. A lot of minimalistic style, like the small, trendy style tattoos are kind of like the thing now. Spaceship one, that was a design I just came up with, and I decided one day maybe, hoping that somebody probably reach out to get it, and somebody did.
There's no one person who comes here. I tattoo people of all ages, all origins, people from around the world. And people especially who would never get a tattoo, are getting tattoos. And a lot of people do it to remember family that passed away, or just their dog that they love. I don't know a lot of people who go to work and receive so much love. It's amazing also to give people confidence, because for me my tattoos give me confidence, I feel like if you have a part of your body that you don't like, if you have a tattoo, some beautiful art, you love that part of yourself more,
I think tattoos are super fun. They were super taboo when I was growing up. I'm from the South, so a lot of people don't have tattoos. So when I moved to New York on a random Wednesday, I went and got the age I was tattooed on my wrist. Called my dad, he was livid, but now he loves them. I think they're fun. I think they're great storytellers. It doesn't hurt. Just take a deep breath and you'll be fine. It just feels like a nice scratch. And if it does hurt, it's totally worth it.
Pain is temporary.
Pain is temporary. Tattoo is forever.
That's our show. If you want to know more about the guests we featured, check out our Instagram page at Shades of Us TV and online at tv.cuny.edu. You can now download the app and watch CUNY TV from wherever you are. I'm Darryl Brown. See you next time on Shades of Us.